Napoleon! Director Ridley Scott teams up with Apple TV to bring us a retelling of the legendary French revolutionist Napoleon Bonaparte, a name most of you will recognise but not necessarily know all that much about. I certainly didn't, and whilst there's loud questions being asked about the accuracy of this story being presented to us, there's no denying that Ridley Scott is trying to deliver to us knowledge of this huge historical figure in the most entertaining way possible. There's no questioning Ridley Scott's mark left on cinema and his ability in visual storytelling, and it's very much the same in this 2.5 hour plus spectacle. One of my biggest takeaways straight off the bat is that the team behind the locations, the set builds, design and costume all deserve huge praise for what they've created, and these teams should be easy contenders at the Academy Awards for Best Production Design and Best Costume Design. The movie is nothing short of fascinating to look at, with broad landscapes and interesting locations to constantly jump back and forth to, accompanied by intricate gowns and outfits really showcasing the extravagant Regency fashion and the French culture. Everyone looks interesting all the time, and it's clear the effort put in to make everyone look at their best, down to the last background actor. To complement these teams and their amazing work, we're given some great cinematography as we dive through a vast number of battles and events led by Napoleon himself. Moments of war were always visually striking and entertaining to watch, though these will unfortunately be more front-loaded in this story. Ridley Scott focuses on the events beginning at his rise into power, following through all the way to the end of his life. The first 30 minutes feel explosive, with gruesome, chaotic confrontations which carry on most of the way into the story, but somewhat feels like it sizzles out in the 2/3 mark. The brutalities and that use of the movie's 15 rating are better used at the start of the film and in an incredible sequence set on an icy lake halfway through, and less so on what should have been the climactic final arc. Without spoiling too much, there's a decision to include an exiling halfway into the film, which I find just grinds that pace to a halt somewhat. Combined with what feels like a total of 25 minutes of marching footage used in total, there's definite pacing problems that can sometimes make this 2.5 hour film certainly feel as long. And I can see why they kept that mid-story event in the movie. I mean, it's a very important part of Napoleon's life, but I wonder if removing that and cleaning up the story that connects the surrounding events may have stopped the movie pace feeling like two upward curves one after another, and maybe instead having it feel like a more consistent ride to the end of the story. Moving on from the movie's pacing, I want to dive into a little bit on Ridley Scott's way of telling this story and the agenda behind this storytelling that at first I thought was accidental, but upon seeing the closing credits was made aware that this was very intentional. I'm talking like this is a hard to find revelation in the film. I think it's more like the penny just took longer to drop for me than probably most other people that will watch this. The movie portrays Napoleon generally as a buffoon who frequently seems to chance his way through some of his successes. When watching this, one of my initial thoughts was that I was struggling to understand what was making this man so great. Was he intelligent? Was that how he was winning the wars? They touched very briefly on his skill with cannons, but that was it. They didn't show him as charismatic or wise, and I was really trying to see why he was able to be as successful as he was, because he seems like a laughable idiot, but it seems like that was the point. You've got Joaquin Phoenix playing the man himself, and he's truly excellent in this. There's a lot of the comical ways he carries this character that you can find in something like his Joker performance. The film's agenda seems to be telling us on the failures of his life more so than the successes, and I think that's a great way of doing so, especially with the events that take place near the end of the story, but I wish they did spend some time on giving us a reason why not to take him as a complete joke throughout. And I suppose that was the purpose of the ice lake scene, but I just wanted a little bit more of that. And credit where credit's due, and it'll be some light spoilers here, I'll leave a tag up whilst I'm talking about these spoilers. They really wanted to drive in the message of his recklessness, and it's apparent in that closing statement where it showcases the amount of deaths he's responsible for and not what his victories were. Once I saw that, I just retraced the scenes in my mind where I felt the movie was struggling to make me feel convinced this man was impressive, to then realising that was the entire point. The second main objective was to focus more so on his relationship with his wife Josephine than practically anything else. Vanessa Kirby plays Napoleon's lover, and she's also incredible in this too. The pair bounce off each other in this chaotic and hostile fashion, and I'm just continuously baffled by their ability to fight one scene and obliviously move on from it in another. This can sometimes hurt the continuity of the story, however, and some minor spoilers here. There's a huge focus on Napoleon having a child, a successor to him, and it's focused so much on as a driving force that separates both our main characters, but that plot point is almost entirely forgotten about once we progress onwards with the movie. After the first exiling scene, I don't think there's ever any other mention of that kid or the family again. Apparently Apple TV is going to come out with a 4-hour director's director's cut version or something, but I don't think you need to make a film that long in order to tell a full story. Right, I think that was kind of everything I wanted to talk about really. I'm glad I watched it. There's enough spectacle and entertainment here to justify seeing this in the cinemas instead of waiting for it to come out on streaming, but regardless of how you choose to watch it, I would recommend people watch this. So that's Napoleon. It came out this weekend, so maybe you've already seen it. If so, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this review, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that stuff, and as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.